There is a thin line between projecting and being emotional. Emotions are neutral, while projections are directed. You know, being emotional means feeling your feelings honestly. Things like sadness, anger, excitement, fear, name them, and allowing yourself to sit with them. Projecting, on the other hand, it means taking those feelings and assigning them to someone else, blaming them, or even using them as justification to harm, to manipulate, or even control. For example, when you're emotional, you'll be like, I feel angry right now. I feel sad right now. I feel happy right now. But when you're projecting, you'll be like, you made me angry. Because you never care about me. One is self-owned, while the other shifts responsibility. Being emotional is self-awareness. You have to understand feeling is not a weakness. It is an expression of your humanity. When you allow yourself to cry, to scream safely, or even admit that I am hurt, then you are in touch with yourself. Emotions are a signal. They are not weapons. They tell you where your needs, where your boundaries, and even desires are. Projection, on the other hand, projection is a lack of ownership. Projection is when you take an internal state and throw it outward as someone else's fault or even responsibility. Instead of saying, I feel jealous, you start saying, you are trying to make me jealous. Instead of saying, I feel insecure, you say, you are disrespecting me. Projection avoids the discomfort of looking inward. It's a way to escape accountability. Being emotional is healthy when it is owned and expressed in a constructive way. Projection often becomes emotional dumping, where others are forced to carry what you refuse to face. Like an example of a healthy emotional expression is, I feel overwhelmed and I need space to process. While on the projection side, you'll be like, you're stressing me out on purpose. Can you stop talking to me? The thin line is ownership. The thin line between the two is thin because both involve strong feelings. The difference lies whereby emotion says, this is my feeling and I will feel it. But on the other hand, projection says, this is your fault. You must fix it. The more you practice self-awareness, the easier it becomes to spot when you are crossing that line. Psychologically, owning emotions builds emotional intelligence and strengthens relationships. While spiritually, owning emotions prevents repeated toxic cycles where you unconsciously pass pain on to others. It is more than okay to feel. In fact, it is essential. But it is your responsibility to process those emotions in a way that does not harm others. Emotions are sacred. Projection is what turns them into weapons. My people, heal. Heal.